Thank you for giving me such a kind of opportunity to talk in front of such a great cinema screen. Just I was told that hopefully I can be great cinema director in the future. Okay. But before I start my lecture, I want to know how many of you have been to my lecture. Could you raise a hand? Not so many. So, okay, I just said not so many. So I'm gonna make the same joke as before. So even I make same jokes, try to smile, laugh. Okay, and also I have some present for you. And actually, I know that these are on sale on Pompeo Center. And I have monograph 1, 2, 3. This is new. And first person who made a good question get 3 books. Second person get 2. Third person get 2. I don't know, just 2. Yeah. So I hope you can prepare a good question. Don't ask me why I'm in blue. Okay. Now, as you can see, I'm always in blue shirt, same shirts, and same watch, and the blue iPhone, and my socks the same. And many people said I'm wearing the same T-shirts all the time, but it's not true. I have more than 100 of this, and it's green. And my wife is always in that. So I forgot to start my slide. Okay. Yes. And this is my boss. And red and blue. Maybe I should add white on the middle. But one day I decided that everything we share into yellow. So my daughter became yellow. And then we got our son. And we are supposed to make our son into yellow as well. But my daughter didn't like to lose her color. So she made him into green. So we have 4 primary colors. The reason why I'm starting a story from my family is that everything we do is coming from the family. We get the idea from family. We don't get the idea from difficult books. We are not a philosopher. We read books, but it's not the starting point. We need to get inspiration. And my office is quite different from other famous Japanese architects' offices. I know that most of the Japanese famous architects are working crazy, 7 days a week, sometimes almost 8 days a week, and there's no Sunday. And they are not allowed to have girlfriend or boyfriend in the office. And in my office, it's different. There's one thing I'm quite proud of my office is that there are 6 married couples in my office. I think it's quite important because, as I say, if you don't understand the happiness, you can't provide happiness to the others. And that is what architecture is for. And I'm going to start my story from the very old project. Actually, one of my friends, David Trottin, introduced me to Art Lab in Oregon, and that's the starting point of our international name. Okay, this is called roof house. I think some of you might know. And this is a house the family used to live. And whenever I talk to my new client, I always ask them, what kind of weekend do you spend? What kind of thing do you eat? We don't ask their taste, just we ask them lifestyle. Then they said, okay, we spend most of the time, most of the weekend on top of this roof. And I said, it's quite dangerous. And then they were showing this picture, you know. And, you know, of course, there is no handrail, you know. This ceramic tile is falling off. And, but they said, it's okay. Our parents are coming out with them. So it's okay. So we found they are serious. So we made a drawing. And it's standing on the edge of the residential area, looking down the valley. This is a mountain. And, you know, and just we were trying to find out how we should get out to the roof. You know, when you do something you are not allowed to do, you feel good. Eh? And in this house, they were coming out from this tiny window, growing out. If there was a door, it's not interesting at all. So we made a skylight so they can pop out. And then at that time, the younger sister, I think 7 or 8 years old, she claimed, this is mine. And the elder sister said, this is mine. And the father started saying, oh, this is mine. And the mother said, the one for kitchen is mine. And then we then said, we need a one for the family. And we need one for the toilet, bathroom, and entrance. So we started having so many skylights. And then said, we're going to have our breakfast and lunch. So we need table. So we put table. Then they said, okay, we need to warm our food. So we need a kitchen. So we had to put the kitchen. And they said, well, I need some kind of privacy. Such a strange family saying we need privacy on top of the roof. So we had to put the wall. And they said, winter is very cold in Hadano. That's the location, Hadano. The city is called Hadano. And so we had to put the stove. And summer is hot, so we had to put shower behind the wall. So we started having many things. That's a section. And they were saying, we want to have a barbecue on top of the roof. But I said, don't do that, because you're going to burn your house. So they said, okay, we're going to have a barbecue in the garden. But they asked me to make sure the roof edge is low enough so they can pass a barbecue to the top of the roof. It's very low. So this is less than 1.9, I think 1.85. And when I explained this to Scandinavians, said it's not a proper height. It's against the law. But they didn't know that the Japanese is small enough to use this architecture. It's quite enough for Japanese. And this is plan. And whenever I draw architecture, we try to put people inside so that we can see what's going on. A roof plan, you know, you can see many things going on. Actually, this is the elder sister playing soccer. She said it's nice to play soccer on top of the roof because even when you kick the ball, it comes back automatically. Well, roof structure. You know, I don't have time to explain, but if you have questions later. And my wife on the edge, red. Then we got this. And actually this architecture got all kinds of prizes in Tokyo. And also editor of Architecture Review said that this is the most well-published house in the world, last 10 years. Actually, I counted up to 400 magazines and books, and I gave up. It still keeps going on. Then, younger generation want to do the same. And in Japan, maybe in France, same. And we need to get permission to build something on the ground. And so we have to present document. And then always these younger generation present architecture with people on top of the roof without handrail. As you can see, there's no handrail on top. And actually, I used to draw a handrail on top of the roof, but the client didn't like the handrail. And he works for the government side, but he said it should be okay. If you look at the ballet, no house has handrail. No house on top of the hill has handrail. If you look at this, their house didn't have handrail on top, no handrail. So they said, why do we have to have handrail? So we did it. So no problem, But now younger generation wants the same. And of course, government official says, no, you can't do it. You have to put handrail on. And then always they have the picture of this project saying, do you know this project? This is in school book. Everybody knows. This has no handrail. And always government official says, that we know this project. That's the reason why you can't do it anymore. So this is quite original. No one can do it anymore. But, this is how it's looking like. And they like the rooftop so much. And when we completed the roof, just still going on. Still there are some works going on underneath, carpenters working underneath. But we are having a meeting on top. And they started ordering a pizza from a rooftop. And the Pizza Hut guy came down with a multi-bag one side. And they asked the carpenter, where I should deliver? And then actually they said, no, they're upstairs. And then we took the ladder out. We leaned the ladder on the edge. And then the boy came up. And he asked us, where do we take our shoes? That's the first question we got. And they liked that incident so much. So they kept doing it. Until then, always they had the same person to deliver the pizza. But that person never came back. Always they had a different person. So they asked the Pizza Hut, what happened to the person who used to deliver the pizza all the time to my house? They said, no, he's fine. But everybody wants to see the house, so we are making switches so everybody can see. So this house became the most famous house in the Pizza Hut in this region. As you can see, the rooftop. And, Japanese people are quite serious. And when we published this roof house on the architecture magazine in Japan Architect, there's a kind of debate. Actually, we are the first office who which put people onto the picture in the architecture magazine in Japan. And usually, architecture magazine in Japan never print people in architecture, in a photograph. So, and then we publish it. And then the critique said, I don't think this is true story. Rooftop should be very hot in summer, cold in winter. I don't think in use. And for the first time, in the 90 years history of the architecture magazine, Japan Architects, client wrote back saying, critique is wrong. We eat breakfast on top of the roof every day. But they made a point. Rooftop should be cold in the winter. So you should come out after lunchtime. It's warm enough. Summer, rooftops should be very hot. But if you come out after sundown or before sunrise, it's quite cool. So you should choose the timing. And they made a very good point. in summer, we go to beach. Beach is 50 degrees in sand. And we go for skiing. Ski is minus 20. Human being is such a kind. We should be able to find a good environment instead of making it. That became quite a famous statement. Then I'm going to show you the details. This is the worst kitchen I have ever seen. But at that time, we didn't have any money on the project. This is the cheapest kind of project. We didn't have any money. So this is a present from the carpenter. They found this in the backyard. But they use it quite a lot. And this is shower. So you are not sure if they're going to use it. But one day we got a call from the client. Actually, that was a wife. And the wife was calling to my wife, means my partner. It was so nice to take a hot shower in cold typhoon. And my wife, Yui, said, you should be careful. But the wife, the house, said, no, it is okay. I'm wearing T-shirts. I don't think she understood what we are concerned about. But at least we know that they use this shower a lot. Okay, we don't have much time, so just we rush a little, And there are a ladder to come up and down. The privacy. Actually, this thing I tell you, the bathroom as a shower is in front of this sliding door, right? So even they close it, you have to get to the shower from this bedroom. So we asked them, how do you keep your privacy? Because they don't use any curtain. The room is quite open. We offered them to choose a curtain, but they said they don't need it. But they said, don't worry. We run quite fast, so nobody sees us. Interesting client. And they go up and down with this ladder. And there's a game of the field rabbit popping out from the holes. You get a hammer to hit the head. It's looking like that. And when you see a couple sitting on the edge of the roof, red and blue, you see the legs from underneath. So now, then one of the owners of the kindergarten called us. They want roof house for 600 children. And this was the old building they used to have on site. But we like that architecture so much. It's so ugly, but it's so primitive. And the people are going in and out, and these days, usually school buildings are always enclosed. Even corridors are air conditioned. We didn't like it, but this kindergarten, there's so many leaking points, and the wind is blowing through, and just only classroom were enclosed. I like that so much. But he said, no, you have to make new one. It doesn't stand against another aspect. So it became opposite situation. I was trying to tell them, you have to keep the building. And then they were saying, could you draw something for us? So it became opposite. So we had to come up with some kind of new idea. So and this is what kids do, usually. When they make some kind of circle, they keep running around. It's a kind of instinct they have in liberal cortex. They do that up to 6 or 7. When you have a puppy try to eat own tail, making circles, exactly the same. So we made a circle for the kids so they can keep running. But when we made the plan, I found out there are 3 trees on the way, big trees. We wanted to keep it. Of course, it's not easy, because if you cut the root, tree dies. So the building is floating over the root. So we did some research underground, and we planted a column where it doesn't disturb. Then we got architecture. And actually, before we built this, client said, just the owner of the kindergarten said, well, we want architecture like a roof house, so we don't want any handrail. I said, it's impossible. You're going to be sued. He said, how about having net sticking out from the edge of the roof so that we can catch the children falling off? And we were not sure about it, but eventually he convinced me. So we went to City Hall to submit a drawing. And they looked at me and they said, are you insane? So we had to come back to the kindergarten. And then I said, they said, we are crazy. And but the owner said, no, you are not crazy. We are not crazy. Just a moment. Actually, he's much more important than mayor in the city, because the mayor changes every 10 years, sometimes 4 years. But the principal of the kindergarten always same. And the family has been running this kindergarten more than 60 years now, right? So all people working in City Hall are from this kindergarten. They say, oh, principal says, and actually he called the City Hall, you have to do something. So it's a kind of, order, right, from important person. So they couldn't resist. So we could keep that idea around the tree. Yeah, of course we couldn't take out the handrail, on the edge, but we could keep that idea around the tree. And of course, this rope is nothing to do with them. You get more, sometimes more than 40. And this boy loves the tree, so he's eating the tree. And this is a quite lightweight handrail because he insisted he wanted just a net. I said, it's possible, you have to make it light. You can make it light, but net is not good enough. But he liked it so much when it's completed. It's looking like monkeys behind birds in the zoo. Monkeys. Feeding time. Actually, this kindergarten has a quite large amount of land. They have more than 7 hectares. So they produce all kinds of organic food for the children. The building has very low ceiling height because we wanted things going on top of the roof and underneath of the roof to be seen from the outside of the courtyard. Everything must be visible in the kindergarten. And if the roof is too high, you see just only the ceiling, not things on top of the roof. So we don't try to make it as low as possible. So H is only 2.1. And actually, it doesn't follow the governmental standard for the kindergarten. Governmental standard says you should make most of the kindergarten to have 3-meter high ceiling. And also, the governmental standard said you have to have a thick acoustic wall between classroom to make the room to be quiet. But the principal said, no, it's all wrong. don't worry. But I said, we can't get finance from the government if you keep saying so. He said, no, don't worry, I pay for it. So do what we want? Okay, so I was happy, so I did it. Then always I kept getting complaints with the local authorities. Then change came. 2011, suddenly Ministry of Education called us. Something wonderful happened. I think you know OECD. The headquarters is in Paris. OECD asked the United Nations to announce, we want to find out the best school building in the world. And the 33 countries submitted 166 representatives. Then OECD did some jury. This became the best in the world. I think you might know that the government never listened to own people. Japanese government never listened to Japanese. But Japanese government listened to Europeans, the Americans. So when they found out this building got the best prize amongst all the countries in the United Nations, suddenly they came to the kindergarten, said, I am going to give you the minister prize. Minister himself came. And then we came to get the prize in Paris. And the 6 government officials came along with us. I don't think they did something for the project, but they are looking happy. And they bought my dinner, so I'm quite happy. And then when we went back to Tokyo, we found out my wife was appointed to the one to set up new standard for the kindergarten. Now we can do whatever we want. You look at the rule book, they're saying you should put children on top of the roof, and you should make endless circulation. So just it's exactly as we wanted. So we changed the rule. Now it's built. And at the beginning, we couldn't put the green because it snowed in winter. And the reason why there's a mound at the end of the staircase is that if it's too long, they may break the backbone, the necks. But when owner said, okay, the mound is this height, should be enough. We don't mind. And they break legs, arms. It's a part of education. It's amazing client. Gargoyle. This gargoyle collect all the leaves on top of the roof, and they use the leaf to grow some beetles. And then after beetle grows, and then they give all the beetles the children, and then they get fertilizer, and they use that fertilizer to all the products in the field. A lake washing place. A different kind of bulbs. Normal. This is flexible, so that you can spray the water to your friends. Shower. Actually, he's not washing his boots. He's putting the water into the boots. You can look at this one. Now, okay, this is a very important picture. First of all, this is quite open. And of course, in cold winter, we can close it. But more than 2/3 of each year, it becomes like this. It's completely open. Then always there are some business from outside the country. Still, there are more than 300 or 400 visitors each month from outside Japan. It's becoming quite a popular place. And then always there are people saying, what happened? It rains. Kids get wet. And then owner said, Didn't you know that your children are waterproofed? You never melt in water. If you dip the iPhone into water, it get destroyed, but your kids are okay. And then visitor says, well, their clothing, are going to be wet. They said, okay, in Japan, the solution is quite simple. If kids get wet, they change. What do you do in your country? It's quite simple. And this school building is known to have very special effect onto our psychological side of children. Almost no autistic child has shown symptom. I need to show you one slide. It's teacher dancing in Indonesia. They have been doing that more than 1,000 years. This island used to be a part of France a long time ago. Do you know that? And they have a long tradition, more than 1,000 years. And I recorded this music, actually this opera, with this iPhone. And I took this music back to Tokyo. And then I found that this has background noise. Can you hear background noise? It's a beep. I should stop it. Actually, the owner of this theater in Bali explained me. Actually, he's quite famous scientist. He said the noise, background noise, was there all the time. But when you are there, you are not aware of it, because your brain has amazing noise cancellation system. It cancels by the information, not the frequency, And we are capable of doing so. We are much more capable than Sony sound system, Panasonic system. And your cardiovascular system, your breathing and the heartbeat are much louder than the construction site right next to your house. Some people say it's more than 70 to 90 decibel, But you can erase it with your mind, in your mind. But once you dive under the water, all the noise comes back. You can hear heartbeat, all the noise. But these are not from the water. It's within your body. So when you disconnect yourself from the surrounding environment, all the noise comes back. Now just our office and as some scientists suspect, same things are happening to the children in modern architecture. Now when you put children in the quiet environment, sea-concealed environment, they get nervous. They start hearing their heartbeat. They can't stand, to sit in the chair. But when you put them back into the forest, they behave normal. United States has the highest ratio of autistic children, but they have the best school buildings in the world, concealed, quite well air conditioned. Now we are saying, they are saying, on the Bali, almost there are no autistic child. They don't show symptom. So we are saying the modern architecture could be the reason to produce autistic children, mentally disabled. So we could be the responsible. And now, this kindergarten has no barrier between classrooms. It's amazing things that they can talk to. They can do class mathematics right next to music class. because these children are capable of choosing the noise. And in the jungle, when the background noise stops, that's a sign of the predator, So when a lion's tiger comes, all the bags stop ringing, and then a monkey become quiet. That's a sign of danger. So that is exactly what's happening to the small children. I think you know that your children sleep better in a restaurant than quiet kids' room. Now, this is how they divide classroom. They change the room configuration almost every month. They were supposed to help teacher, but they never do. They do things by themselves. It's not abusement. And each teacher can do what they want. It's up to them to make classroom. Wash basin. We made the wash basin like a well so they can talk to each other. Christmas time. And this is a monkey trying to fish another monkey from rooftop. Actually, this is a tree underneath actually, this is a tree popping through the roof. Monkey. And there are many skylights onto the roof. So, at the time of Christmas, always Santa Claus comes down. And one day we had a problem. The owner of the kindergarten wanted to have a really good-looking American Santa Claus. So he went to American base to get quite nice, good-looking Santa Claus. But he should, he should know that this skylight is designed for Japanese Santa Claus. We got him stacked in the frame, so we are having a hard time to get him out. And we use old-fashioned light bulb, not LED. And we know that the LED still have problem for the eyes of the children. So still they are trying to use this old-fashioned. But of course, we have to save the energy. So we are dangling more than 100 strings so that they can turn on where just only they want it, just like a lighting up torch. This is a number of the games going on top of the roof. This is a movement of boy onto the roof. Actually, they have 5 times more games than normal kindergarten. And there's no praying tool. When you have praying tool is telling you what you should do next, so you don't think. But if you have only architecture element, you have to improvise. That's the most important part. And then this is a movement of boy between 10 past 9 to 30 past 9. Within 20 minutes, the boy moved this much. It's a lot. Actually, this is a research made by one of the architecture students. And one of the professors made a paper about it. And this boy made 6,000 meters in the morning before lunchtime. Then, actually, it's surprise is not yet to come. Average is 4,000 meters. And in normal kindergarten, kids moves only 800 meters. In this kindergarten, they move more than 4 kilometers. Which in Japanese. And they keep moving automatically. You don't need to chase them. They keep moving. And the roof is not flat. It's inclined. In the morning, as soon as they go to school, they start running. Architecture is capable of doing it. And they have, these children in this kindergarten has the highest athletic ability amongst other schools in Tokyo. It's like a circuit, but it's not flat. There are so many obstacles. It helps them to run. Then we got the new project right next to. Because we changed the rule, we don't need to worry about ceiling heights. So we decided to put the 7 floors within 5 meters high. And the site was site had a tree on the middle, so we had to keep it. So it's a kind of tree house, but it's an English language classroom. And when we design these kind of things, we have to think about safety. So we put our yellow and green kids first. We don't give them a helmet. They are quite resilient. Their scars are quite strong, but he hit his head here. Then we do markings. Then we do some precautions. Then he's trying to see if it is safe to jump off. Then we put other kids in. You can see the ropes, but the rope changes as the tree grows. And sometimes branch touches the handrail, so we had to cut the handrail. And traffic is awful, as in Paris. Bad drive on the front. These days, kids doesn't have experience danger. Everything flat, everything smooth. But in this kindergarten, we try to make some kind of point to jump off, and we did some research. What's the optimal height? And we found that 1.1 is the best height to train themselves. It becomes 1.2, it becomes very difficult. 1.3, only athletic can do it. 1.1, it's interesting, That's a magic number. And then they learn how to help each other. It's a part of society, The owner says, in the first day of the kindergarten, your children may get injured in this kindergarten. They may break their legs or their arms, but we can put them back. But we make sure they don't break their neck or backbone. It's a part of education. It's amazing, but still there are more than 3,000 people, 3,000 children applies to this school. But it's very important to give them to get some injury, because they tremble, because they have to learn for the future. If you make everything very flat, you are taking away the opportunity to learn these things. English language class. There is no furniture. My daughter is touching the ceiling. Actually, this is already 5 years ago. Now she is junior high school student. There's a bunch of light bulbs. It's still floating like a firefly. Then we had the opportunity to design another one right next to kid terrace. And we decided not to put any corridor inside. So we have to walk outside to get into each classroom. And the building is going to be covered with all the products on the field. And then we are having another one for the age 0 to 1. And there are some stories of the umbrella to protect children in Japan. And so we started using that story to make architecture. Japanese umbrella. We made it into architecture. The owner likes it. We made a model. It's quite simple. It's very small architecture, and kids loves it. Kid likes it. They are so curious, and we built this like this. It's under construction. It's going to complete it within a month. Okay, then we got another order to make donuts. I keep saying I'm not a donut shop, but they keep asking me to make a donuts. I said, we don't do donuts anymore, but they insisted. So we had to make some changes. This location is really north. The temperature goes down to -20, sometimes -25. So we decided to make it inclined to the south, so that the architecture can catch little more sun. The inclination brings some more interesting things. They lie down more. They run even more. More run, keep running. They never stop. Underneath the space, and this time we use the timber, because this area is quite famous for timber, and the client really asked to use it. Actually, they have their own forest, and these kids love to sit on the edge. They don't like to go home, and this is their favorite space underneath the roof. And because they liked this building so much, they made the building to be edible. It's a cookie. You can eat it. Now I'm moving to other kind of projects. This is a plan of one hospital we designed. Actually, this is a hospital to take care of the female having infertility problem, who can't have baby, And this is going to build in Okinawa. Okinawa is the southern island of Japan. Okinawa has very sad story. Always that island were invaded by the China, sometimes by Japan, always between two countries. And then around the 18th century, this became a part of Japan. And then at the end of World War II, it's given to the United States. And when the United States got to that island, they burned all the forest from one side to another side, more than 100 kilometers, because they didn't want any Japanese army hiding in the forest. So after World War II, they didn't have any tree, any single tree left. So after that, American army brought back some American trees, but it didn't work. Now, we are trying to bring back indigenous forest to Okinawa Island, and also timber culture. And when you design hospital, you usually try to make a clean environment, right? But we said, actually, we had a discussion if it is the right thing to do. We human beings are, collection of all kinds of gems, all kinds of microscopic life forms. And, without life forms inside your body, you can't digest, you can't make energy. So we are kind of flora. Flora is a kind of collection of all kinds of, microscopic life forms. So we said, okay, we should be able to make corridor to be external if even it is a hospital. So we made lounge to be like this. You have to walk outside. It's tropical. So you have to walk outside. And we try to use language of Okinawa. They have more than 2,000 years of history. This is a patient room, looking like a nice resort. But unfortunately, male are allowed to stay, female only, because we can't become pregnant. Oops. Then, just I'm trying to show all the projects we did. I think you know what it is, and it's a long time ago. It's a Corten Steel Museum. You know Corten Steel? Corrosion-resistant steel. No. And it's about 160 meters long. It's Natural Science Museum. And this area gets the heaviest snow in the world. Snow piles up sometime 10 meters. And this has big window, and all made of steel. It's all welded like a submarine. And in the winter, 5 minutes after snow, in a day, in a week, become like this. And there's actually this, at this moment, or this already, snow is of 6 meters deep. So if you disappear yourself in this ditch, you give me the caught in the crevice, and you have to wait till May to come out. You'll be mummified. From inside. And when our snow started piling up, the curator was really worried if it is okay. I said, yeah, it's well calculated. They called me, are you sure? I said, well, I think it should be okay. Structure engineers say so. They called us again. It's scary. But it looks so nice now. The line of the light is coming down, and we call it Tadao Ando effect. I'm going to show you a few more projects. This is Protestant church, and they wanted to have some kind of relationship with surroundings, because in Japan, Christians are quite a minority. And so they wanted to make everything to be quite, simple. They didn't want to make it looking like rich. So we tried to make a very same material. I use same material. There are more than 20,000 bars attached, like this. We try to find out how we can get the best acoustic space. Because in Protestant church, it's really important to talk to pastor. The pastor need to talk to the people. It's quite different from Catholic. But at the same time, they want some kind of sacred feeling, so that the sound can remain for a long time. So above, sound bounce back all the time, and instead here, the sound disappears. Sound get absorbed on the wall. So we have two different kind of waves. One is direct, another one is absorbed. Light coming in. Do you know who he is? He's Peter Cook. He's pretending to be a priest. Not priest, a pastor. The proof of baptism. And I said that we used to have 6 couples in my office. And when actually they were not married when they started working on the project, but they said they want to get married in this church. And then I said, if you don't finish this project on time, you are not going to have your wedding in this building. So they worked very hard. The light is different after dark. I think the lighting after dark should be different from daylight. Daytime, light comes down the sky, and after dark, the light should stay with people, and the light goes up to the sky. And then I tried acoustics. If I lose my job, I'm going to be pianist. So if you go into my Facebook, you'll find my praise a lot. Anyway, and then we got another church. And this wall is facing to east directly. And usually they have mass just before lunchtime, So we try to wash the wall with the light like this. Quite simple church. And this pool for baptism. And we try to make a pool like a piece of stone. And the reason why we made something like this is that they said, the pastor said, pool for baptism should be as low as possible, because this is a representation of the river of Jordan, the river where Jesus Christ got baptized, and the river is the lowest on this earth, lower than sea level, so we keep it lower. But after we did this, we found that we have a problem, because people doesn't know how this is water, so they step onto the water. So the nice thing about this church is that even you don't want to be baptized, you get baptized sometime. Okay. Then another one. We do fundraising as well. And more than 10 years ago, we were asked to help children suffering cancer. Now, these days, 70% to 80% of children suffering cancer survives after 5 years, because treatment has been improved quite a lot. But 1/3 of the family collapse during that period, because the period they are going through is quite harsh. One day I went to see the hospital, and there are many children. Some of them are going to die. And one day, just one child was talking to me, saying, "I'm going to die next week. I'm going to freeze." And his mother says, "Yes, you are going to be freed, so you're going to be okay." And after he went back to pray, the mother was crying in the backyard. The mother was not allowed to, cry in front of the children, because psychological condition of the children has a big effect onto the patient. If the mother cries, children cries, and they lose immune system. So said, maybe we can find a place where all the family members help these children. So this is how they stay. It's not good. So I said, okay, how about bringing many houses around the hospital, actually the clinic? And they said, no, you can't, because they can't walk outside, because they have to stay in quarantine zone. Chemical kills all the white cells, along with cancer cell. So they have to stay in clean room. So we had to put together. But with this way, we don't have many houses. We can't have many houses. So we made like grapes. So there are many clusters. And then we found out, okay, if we do this, maybe we can bring fathers coming back to the house. So each patient room can have entryway from one side, just like this. Yeah? Then this is a patient room. This is a hospital side. This is a house. This is a family house. And so there are two doors. And we found out patients need to be in quarantine zone just only 1/3 of the period they're staying in the hospital. So with this kind of configuration, the complete segregation needs to be just only 1/3 of the time. And so even that time, they can see their own family through the glass. So you made a plan like this. So on the middle, we have hospital. Outside, we have houses like a village. And then from inside, nurse can look at. And always each room can have window, like this. And also, some children dies, but I didn't want to show them just on the ceiling. So we decided to put some skylights. They can see moon. And this is a way to control the air. Well, it's boring, so just we are jumping it. So this is how the green comes into the architecture. And we had to use our system from just a prefabricated housing company because they donated all the materials. Actually, we had to raise $60 million to start with. So we need to use the combination of prefabricated houses. So this is patient room. And each corner we have high ceiling, so you can have some kind of light coming in, so it doesn't look like a corridor anymore. And the kitchen where mother can cook things. Okay, another project. This is important. Tsunami came 2011. I think you know. And you can see the size of the tsunami along with these houses. And after tsunami, this kind of remain. And actually, this was one of the building for local government. And there was one lady keeping announcement saying, you have to leave the town. Big tsunami is coming. And she was holding the microphone to the last moment. She was drowned to death. So she became a song. But funny thing is that although she tried so hard, a lot of people died. Why? And also, and there are some stones in the monument saying you should never build house lower than this level. The people were still building so many houses. Why? Because last big tsunami was 400 years ago. 400 years ago. That's the time Galileo was saying, this planet is turning around the sun. You think, the tsunami never come to Europe. It's not true. That Lisbon was completely destroyed by tsunami only 150 years ago. And in Norway, there remained a big tsunami exceeding 200 meters. So only one way you can escape from tsunami is just leave the town. And this monk on the middle became quite famous. Every weekend, he kept saying, if earthquake happens, you have to come to my temple. His temple has promenade like this, lower ground. Actually, these trees were planted after the last tsunami, 1611, 1611. And then at the end of the promenade, there's a stairs to go up to his temple. You can see a blue man. Actually, it's not me. It's one of the architects in my office. This is the point tsunami reached. Already 3 kilometers from coastline. And inside of the temple, there's a refugee camp. People escaped. And because this monk kept saying, you have to leave the town when earthquake happens, people could escape. All religious people could escape. There was more than 1 hour after the earthquake. National TV said, and all kinds of announcements said, you have to leave the town. But so many people stayed in the town because they didn't believe it. And the tsunami came. All these trees died. Tsunami is not wave. The water stays almost half day. And then Japanese government made a big mistake. We should use these trees to make electricity because we lost nuclear power plant. But these are the worst decisions they made. And the government also tried to take these trees away because these trees are dead. But we said, no, we can't do it because this belongs to the locals. These trees has been there more than the modern local Japanese government 400 years ago. That was a different regime. Whenever they get the tsunami, they use these dead trees to rebuild their village. So he said we should use it. Then UNICEF came. UNICEF asked me to design temporary structure of the kindergarten, washed away on the lower ground, and said, no, we don't want to do any temporary. We should do for the future. So he said, we can design things with these big trees. We are chopping the tree. You can see that you can see the size of the tree, the size of the people. This is the height. Huge trees. Of course, the quality of timber is not good. And then we got huge columns. Very wet, very heavy. Huge columns. And then we asked the carpenter, how long does it take to dry? And the carpenter said, well, if you wait about 10 years, it's going to be dry perfect. I said, we can't do that. And then we got some wisdom from the carpenters. You drill holes on the middle. And then the timber dries from inside out, so it doesn't crack. If you leave the huge column like this without the drilling on the middle, it cracks. It becomes small pieces. But if you drill on the middle, and it dries from inside out. And also, there are some rules. All tree has to face same direction. This is south side, so links grows faster on the side. So all column bows same direction, so it doesn't become apart. If you put columns different direction, it moves different direction. And the building doesn't stay as it is. So it builds things like this. And then we use the wedges so that we can adjust the building. So we are trying to use all joinery technique. Of course, we had to destroy some pieces because we don't know the real strength. And ceremony. when you put last beam, always we have ceremony. These are the villagers, not the parents of the children. And these people came because this was the first building rebuilt after the earthquake. If you look at these people from the other side, you can see all these people are crying. And the reason why the building was rebuilt so fast was that they knew that these trees used to be the symbol of the town. Just a revitalization of the town doesn't come with just money. It's very important to bring back the owner. Because if you give them the money, just they go to Tokyo, they start a new business. But if you bring back owner, they try to rebuild the town. So this became the symbol of the town. And then it looks like a national treasure. Actually, this belongs to temple. So we made it looking like a temple. But at the same time, this is quite modern structure, but with wisdom of traditional joinery. And with Eve, kids running around. We lost these kind of spaces in modern architecture. This area gets very cold in winter, -15. Summer is 40 degrees. So Eve helps the environment quite a lot. And they do always wrong things. They standing outside of handrail. They spend underneath the balcony. And along with the monk, actually he's the owner. He's so happy, looking like an elementary school student. Now, this column is telling a story to the children. If our earthquake happens, you have to come to me, and your life will be saved. You can't stop tsunami with big concrete barrier because sometimes exceed 100 meters. But you can leave the story with architecture. So this is storytelling architecture. So this is a problem now at this state. And we planted small tree. And 400 years from now new tree grows as it was. And then next tsunami will come, and this tree is going to be used for 800 years from now. And after we made this, we started having new requests because children started coming back to the village. So we had to make extension, but we didn't have enough big trees, so we had to use small timbers. It's going to be like this. It becomes a series of temple, like this. Still, it's under construction. One more project, we are going for question these. And this is a village in Bali Island. In Bali, do you know, in the Philippines, Bali Island in the Philippines, B-A-L-I, Bali. And this area is known to have lots of refugees. Politically, Philippines is quite unstable. There's an island called Mindanao. Still there are some fundamentalists living there. And these people escaped from this island. But the problem is that they don't speak common language. They don't speak common language of Philippine. They don't speak English. So then we got a request from one of the group saying we want to teach English to them. Once they can speak English, they can get some job. So we went there, but it's not easy to go. Actually, if you take taxi stops before the gate, and then beyond there you have to walk by yourself because they are quite afraid of getting in there. This is how it's looking like. they are living in graveyard, the gravestone. And these are my colleagues over there, bad guys. Actually, there used to be more people, but one day we found out they are not coming to the meeting, and we asked them, and what happened to the others? They said, well, they made fake monies. They are in jail. They said hello to Taka, so they are coming back within a few years. But jail is a part of their life. And there are some specialties of bamboo, so we try to understand it. Amazing thing is this is only 350 euro. You can stay one night just in a very reasonable hotel in Paris. And with that price, they can buy a house. And the problem of this area is that construction quality. Concrete is coming with the bucket. So concrete floor wobbles about 5 centimeters. So we tried to find a way to make it. So we decided to make architecture like a pancake. So we made a pancake idea. So we put floor and wall and the floor and the wall. We can pile up. So we don't worry about details at all. So it becomes like this. And then we need charm point. So we put strawberry on top. Okay, we can keep going like this, but I think we should stop, and we're going to the end of the slide. Just a moment. Jumping on. This is a picture of my children. These days, people are worried about the safety of the children, but they learn things climbing the tree. So since they are small, always I try to bring them to the mountain. This is over 3,000 meters, and actually you can see that the person on top here. It's really serious. You can see that. There, so no, it's not that. This person is quite serious, mounting gears. But my son, at that time he was still 5 years old. And these days, parents are worried about germs, all kinds of life forms. But we told my son to find lunch. He said, I found it. He catched it, he eats it. Our kids need to get the skills. Just these days, kids forgot how to climb up. And the kids are not allowed to climb trees in the park. But I think it's very important. And I'm quite sure many of you has done this before. When you were small, you could use tools. This is how human beings were supposed to be. And my son dived under the water, 6 to 7 meters. With me, chasing turtles. That is how human beings are supposed to be. Now, just coming to the end of the slide. This is a car, still we drive. I think you know this car. It's not exactly efficient car. But amazing thing about this car is that car was in production almost 50 years. Almost 50 years. Toyota stopped same model just in 1 or 2 years. Still, it's very important to understand the reason why this design survived such a long time. It's not good. It's not efficient car. It's not functional car. Well, still it makes 20 kilometers per liter. But things goes wrong. And of course, there is no air conditioning. In summer, you want to open it. But once it starts raining, you want to close it. But underneath, but still there's a window. There's a door. There's a door underneath the window. You can see the thin window, and actually door. You can open it in rainy time. But if you forgot to close it before you go into expressway, all the water on the bonnet splash into the cabin, so making a ponding on the floor. But I found still French designs quite rational. And if you look at the instructions, says if ponding happens on the floor, there's a plug on the floor, you can let the water out. The owner of the roof house told us, maybe you can't get 100% satisfaction from Tezuka Architects. It's not for the perfection. But they said you would love Tezuka architecture 200%. It's not about function. It's about fondness. You can put many people in. You can put many things in. You can put your family in. Thank you very much.